No, so all right, you gotta take a look at the screen behind you. You guys familiar with this mural?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about the mural when you look at it?
Us. It was like a beacon of hope the first time I seen it. It was so pretty because, and like, especially the first time, I work with New Voices Pittsburgh, and where our office is, where her face is, right in our conference room, you seen her face, and it was just that affirmation that, like, first of all, I'm here as a Black woman that's an organizer, right? And then my entire organization is about Black women and women of color. And I look outside when I'm having my planning meetings for my leadership council that is comprised of Black girls. It was like the affirmation of all affirmations. Like, this was the staple of East Liberty. This is what affirmed not only Black women, because there's black men over there too, but it affirmed all of us in, like, this is ours, even with Penn Circle being gone and the towers being gone and all the gentrification that we've experienced as a whole.
You have to see yourself in the development. You have to see yourself in the advertising. You have to see yourself in what is to come, or you won't feel as though you're part of it. Really brief anecdote. I go to Bakery Square, and when I'm working out, there were a series of images that said, don't do this, don't do that, don't wear cologne, don't speak too loudly, don't have your headphones out, don't take pictures, and they were all a series of white people giving these images saying, don't wear, don't do whatever. And then the only African American was a person with dreadlocks that seemed as if he was in the middle of being electrocuted, covering his mouth and saying, watch your language. And so I walked to the front and I said, now maybe I'm being sensitive. I said, but come walk with me really quickly. So we stood and we watched, and I said, now, why is this the only place that I show up? And so they said, I don't know, let me talk to management. Came back, they changed the foul language one to an Asian woman. I don't know if that's victory or not. Sorry. But that was, so when you do see yourself in a place, and it is in the most negative of connotations or the context, you don't feel as if you're there. You know, I used to go to Shadow Lounge and go to the Waffle Place right after that, and now I go to the Livery and it's almost as if I'm not supposed to be there. And it's just a sense, you get a sense of feeling reflected. And this was one of those reflections.
It was just really amazing to hear what everybody here said. My voice is gonna be shaky because this is really powerful to hear all this. It was in 2006 that Jordan Monahan, he's the designer of the mural, started, he was the artist that was nominated to do the project for the Sprout Fund, and I was hired as the assistant to put it up. And the idea behind the mural was to capture the youth and the vitality and the energy of that neighborhood and people who lived in that neighborhood. It was meant to be a mirror of people. And these are the children, these are actually children that we photographed and put up on that wall. So the mural was an amazing thing to see go up. Took 2 months of painting, and it was really just really powerful. You know, it was up before the high-rises were actually taken down. And yeah, it was a gift to the neighborhood when it was supposed to be a representation of that neighborhood. One of the little girl that's blowing the bubbles, her aunt found my number and asked me if we still have that photograph of her. And that was before the mural was actually painted over. So yeah, that was a real.
What was the reason that it was painted over? What was the reason that was given?
I didn't find out about the mural being painted over until I read about it in the newspaper. I read that it was going to be painted over. And to me, that back in 2006, that was prior to all of this. There wasn't any Target there was a Home Depot. and there were still businesses that were Black owned. You know, that was it. And that mural was supposed to be a springboard for positive change, and that did stir that change, but ultimately the change was almost its own demise between, in my opinion, that and the Shadow Lounge. Like, that was really, that mural and the Shadow Lounge were tangible cultural change, and it brought people together. And that change that made it a gateway to bringing everybody in ultimately brought their own, in my opinion, their own demise. Like, I understand that the building could, you know, people are going to be working inside there. They have to have window space to like work. But I feel like perhaps there could have been a little bit more of a dialogue about it. I mean, because it was such a monument to, you know, that neighborhood and the children that were there, and like I said, the energy and the youth, and just a gateway to East Liberty.
Who are your mentors? I mean, you know, when I was the age that you folks are, I could barely tie my shoes, and here you are talking about, you know, systemic problems in the city. Is this the result of your own study? Do you have, you know, is Derric, you know, working with you guys? You know, who's responsible for your poise and your sense of controlled outrage?
Well, for me to speak for myself, and I guess, yeah, controlled. I was one of the protesters for the Trump rally, and so that's why my voice is like this. Yeah, fuck Trump. And like the media are saying that we heckled them, which we did, and they deserved it, because there was a lot of things that went on there that the media did not put out and the media did not want to cover. And I will say that as well. But I started with Urban Youth Action. If anyone remembers that program, I started in their HACP program with Iasia Thomas. Now Iasia Thomas, before she was Iasia Abers, but and she's my mentor, and also Heck, Malcolm Thomas, her husband. They're both my mentors, and I've known them since I met Sister I when I was 12, and ever since then, I've just been in different programs, and this has always been an interest of mine, and that's for me speaking for me. But for students, I'm not the only person that speak like this. You know, I'm 22. There's 16-year-olds that I know that speak better than me when it comes to this, and they are more radical in some instances than adults that are like quote-unquote organizers, quote-unquote activists, quote-unquote this and that. I've met children who are more like progressive than adults that are, you know, supposed to be up here. So when it comes to like ageism, this whole entire thing that like youth are just here to just push our stuff forward, or youth are just here to, you know, fill in our rooms, that's not it. You know, we're here to organize, we're here to move forward, we're here to help. That's why we're here, right? We're here to put our input in what's going on in gentrification, what's going on in East Liberty. I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna step back.